Hello mates, the Raw's debut on Netflix has just ended and man oh man is it a great time to be a wrestling fan. Last week on SmackDown we had that great match of the year contender between Nia Jax and Naomi, which was followed by the best women's Money in the Bank cash-in of all time by Tiffany Stratton to become your WWE Women's Champion. And the following week we have this Raw's debut on Netflix, which in itself felt like a PLE with surprise appearances, not so surprise appearances, great matches, and it also had some low points which we are gonna talk about in detail. But before that, don't forget that if you wanna be an integral part of the STWH community, you can head over to Instagram, X, Discord, links are in the description, and don't forget to like, subscribe, ring the bell for notifications. I'm very sure you're gonna adore this YouTube channel because we often bring quality professional wrestling content. So the episode starts with WWE's story running on the curtains in the arena, narrated by Triple H, and the emotional story has it all. It has legends from Hulk Hogan, Andre the Giant, all the way down to the modern superstars in Roman Reigns, Cody Rhodes, and John Cena, and it is a lovely video. If you haven't watched it, please go back and watch it. If you have watched it, please go back and re-watch it. Just do it after this video. And then the video ends, the curtains drop, and there is Triple H standing in the ring just to do his shtick of "Are you ready?" And I'll accept that it has been repetitive, but I'll also not deny the fact whenever it's Triple H coming out to say "Are you ready?" I'll always get goosebumps and I'll always scream from the top of my lungs that yes, I am ready for the show. And the pyros go off and everyone is happy and cheering, and then suddenly the lights go off and everyone is speculating who's gonna come out, whose entrance is this, and then the Rock's music hit. And if I said that the crowd erupted, it would be an understatement because they literally blew the roof off of the arena and they were so loud for the Rock. And obviously it is the Rock, we are gonna expect that reaction, and it is the Rock, the billionaire and the man who does everything spectacularly, the most electrifying man in the entire entertainment history. And he came out in the final boss theme, the final boss attire, and we really expected him to move the needle in the Bloodline storyline and the Tribal Combat match. But the thing is, what we got here was the board of directors Rock. So not only he did not move any needle in the Bloodline storyline or any storyline whatsoever, he also broke the character by thanking Cody Rhodes for carrying the company on his back. And Cody Rhodes sitting like a chump over there waiting for Rock to say everything, and the Rock also said that say hello to Mama Rhodes, and Cody Rhodes took it with a smile. Mind you, this is the same statement that got their rivalry heated and personal during the build up to WrestleMania 40. I know that The Rock also said that he can spill Cody's blood if he wants to, but I don't think the plan is going to be that anytime soon. And the WrestleMania 41 card does not include Rock versus Cody Rhodes at all, because they hugged it out with a smile, and then The Rock left, and then it was time for the first match of the night between Roman Reigns and Solo Sikoa, the Tribal Combat for the Ula Fala. And it is just a treat to watch Paul Heyman introduce Roman Reigns as this reigning, defending OTC. Then the bell rings and Roman Reigns and Solo Sikoa go at it, and it is just like any other Bloodline match where it is slow at first, it has some cool moments, but the match really starts when Roman Reigns hits Solo Sikoa with that power bomb through the table, and Tama Tonga comes out to make the save so that Solo Sikoa doesn't get pinned. And then Jacob Fatu comes out, hits Roman Reigns with that super kick, hits him with the moonsault finisher, and also Solo Sikoa hits him with the spike and then tries to cover him, but Roman Reigns still kicks out. And then came out Jimmy Uso and Sami Zayn to make the save. They took out Jacob Fatu and Tama Tonga out of the equation just to leave Roman Reigns and Solo Sikoa alone. And just when it seemed like Roman Reigns is gonna spear Solo Sikoa again and pin him to win the match, Kevin Owens comes out of nowhere to hit Roman Reigns with that stunner, and Solo Sikoa tries to cover Roman Reigns again and he still kicks out. And then came out Cody Rhodes running to the ring and taking out Kevin Owens to the crowd with himself, leaving just Solo Sikoa and Roman Reigns in the ring, where Roman Reigns hits Solo Sikoa with 2 spears to take up the win. So I think the saga between Roman Reigns and Solo Sikoa ends here, because out came The Rock again. He took the Ula Fala from Paul Heyman and made Roman Reigns wear it. And yes, they did have a stare down, but I am not sure if they hinted at a match between them at WrestleMania. Also, the fact that Rock rejoiced with Cody Rhodes and also acknowledged Roman Reigns as his tribal chief tells me that The Rock might not be available for WrestleMania 41, and they might have to push The Rock vs Roman Reigns match at WrestleMania 42, and we'll have to wait for another whole year. So The Rock and Roman Reigns leave, and I'll give you a heads up here. There were segments in this episode of Raw that weren't available to the countries that had ad breaks in this episode, like USA and India. So I don't have a review on those segments, including the New Day segment that happened between The Rock and Roman Reigns and John Cena coming out. So John Cena came out, he received an amazing ovation from the crowd. And John Cena's promo had it all. The IWC has so much impact over WWE that WWE knows everything that we are talking about. He name dropped every single feud that we are craving for, including CM Punk, Drew McIntyre, Gunther, and Cody Rhodes. And he also mentioned the fact that he hasn't won a singles match since 2018, and it would be really hard for him to climb up the ladder and get into the main event scene. He also mentioned that it is not a possibility for him to win the 17th world title, but only then he dropped the fact that he never says never, and he name dropped every single event that he can go through to get the 17th world title, including Money in the Bank, Elimination Chamber, and Royal Rumble. And he also announced that he will be in the Royal Rumble and he will win it, and I'm here for it. I want Cena to win everything that he lacks in his resume: the 17th world title, the Intercontinental Championship. I want the Super Cena version of him, and I want him to win every single championship and go through every dream feud that we are craving, and I want it all in 2025 from John Cena, and I'm here for it. So the next match between Rhea Ripley and Liv Morgan for the Women's World title started off fast. It had Rhea Ripley throwing around Liv Morgan, and soon enough Dom's distraction gave the advantage to Liv Morgan, and Liv Morgan dominates for like 5 minutes or so. Then Rhea Ripley hits a riptide out of nowhere. Everyone in the arena thought it was over. I thought it was over, but Liv Morgan just kicks out of the riptide, and I was in shock. Rhea Ripley was in shock. She spent 2 minutes in shock, asking the referee if it was a 3 count or so. So after a few minutes, Dom distracts the referee, and it allows Raquel and to help Liv Morgan hit an oblivion on Rhea Ripley onto the chair, and Rhea Ripley still kicks out. And then it was a moment of shock. I thought it was gonna extend the rivalry, extend the feud between them, but then the match goes on. Rhea Ripley hits 2 riptides on Liv Morgan, and she pins her to win the match and finally win the feud, finally win the world title. And I'm happy that this feud must have ended. And it also had a segment between Dominic Mysterio and Rhea Ripley after the match, where Dominic Mysterio just extends his arms to hug Rhea Ripley, and Rhea Ripley hits him with another riptide, and this ends the feud between Rhea Ripley, Dominic Mysterio, and Liv Morgan. And I'm happy, and since this feud has ended, we can have Rhea Ripley have great feuds with other women on the Raw roster. And just when Rhea Ripley was about to leave the stage, the gong hits and out comes the American Badass Undertaker on his motorcycle. He goes around the ring once and comes back to stand beside Rhea Ripley, and they do their iconic hand in the air thing. And it was a really iconic moment because it was like passing a torch from one legend to Rhea Ripley, who's gonna become a legend in the women's division. And I know it was just for a minute, but it is always magical to see Undertaker in a WWE arena, and I'll always love it, and I crave for more of it. Now we get a segment where Raw General Manager Adam Pearce is shaking hand with Bayley, and this might hint that Bayley is going over to Raw. And just when they were about to finish, out came the American Maid, and Chad Gable asks Adam Pearce to set him up with a luchador in next week's Raw, and we all know that is gonna be Penta, and I'm here for it. They have been teasing for a while, and this is gonna be an awesome match because we all know how talented Chad Gable is, we all know how talented Penta is, and it's gonna be a great match in next week's Raw. And for the next match, Jey Uso comes out with Travis Scott. Everyone is eating around. I always love a Jey Uso entrance, and it's always magical in a PLE. And after making his entrance, Jey dives over the ropes to kick off the match between Drew McIntyre while he is making his entrance. And then he tries to jump off again, but Drew McIntyre catches him, and they deliver a banger of a match. But what I loved about this episode is that they had really close counts because Jey Uso hits Drew McIntyre with a spear. He kicks out at 2. Drew McIntyre hits Jey Uso with a Claymore, with a nasty Claymore, and Jey Uso still kicks out at 2.5, which I didn't expect. And then Drew McIntyre goes for another Claymore only for Jey to fall off, and then he goes for another Claymore, and Jey Uso surprisingly rolls him up for a crucifix pin and pins Drew McIntyre to win the match. And now this is a nice thing, Jey Uso winning a match over Drew McIntyre, who's a perennial main eventer. But the thing that pisses me off is the fact that we were building Drew McIntyre to be this bloodline bounty hunter Drew McIntyre. Some were dream booking Drew McIntyre to battle Roman Reigns at SummerSlam. But if Drew McIntyre has lost a match at a PLE to Jey Uso, I wonder if they are gonna take Drew McIntyre that way. The only thing that I think that can take Drew McIntyre upwards from here is the fact that he can get more angry, he can be more vicious, and he can give more attacks to the bloodline members and often in the coming months, and gain back his credibility before finally going to the tribal chief Roman Reigns at SummerSlam. And I really hope they go this way because we haven't had Roman Reigns versus Drew McIntyre at the peaks of their career. Roman Reigns is a peak babyface, Drew McIntyre is the peak heel in the WWE, and we need them to battle at this time, at this moment. The next segment had a WWE legend come out, Hulk Hogan, and he was getting so many boos, and I loved it. He was getting so many boos. He was not being treated like a legend. He was doing his iconic ear thingy with this, and he was always having boos coming into his ears, and he promoted his beers. He thanked Netflix. Netflix is gonna running wild on you. I am telling you, Hulk Hogan is finished. He was getting all the boos, no matter what he mentioned, no matter whose name he mentioned. He mentioned Andre the Giant and all the tag team partners he's had, but he was only getting booed. So this segment, I love this segment because it was having a legend in Hulk Hogan that everyone despises, and he's getting booed out of the arena. He leaves soon. And then we move to our main event, that is between Seth Rollins and CM Punk, this grudge feud, and it starts with a massive stare down between both the guys. So the match starts, they are instantly out of the ring. Seth is tearing up the announce tables, and he's also arguing with the referee that he doesn't have to get to the count of 10. He doesn't have to count, and he has to let this match happen because it is a grudge feud. And then they take the match to the crowd. They are beating each other up, and the referee follows them thinking, and I think the referee gave up and he wasn't counting to 10. Then they take the match back into the ring, and Seth is really still arguing with the referee over the match rules, and CM Punk gets to get back into this match, and we get this amazing moment of CM Punk trying to hit a crossbody on Seth Rollins. Seth Rollins rolls up and hits CM Punk with his own finisher move, GTS, and it was a really rough GTS. We all thought that CM Punk had really got hit with it, but CM Punk rolls out of the ring just to prevent the pin. Seth goes out of the ring to get CM Punk back into the ring, and just as Seth Rollins was getting back into the ring, CM Punk stomps him with his finisher move and tries to pin Seth Rollins, but he kicks out at 2, and it is a great back and forth match. We know that is gonna be a multiple finisher match because it was this grudge feud, and we also had so many close kickouts in the previous matches of the show. CM Punk then picks up Seth Rollins for a GTS, only for Seth to counter and hit another GTS on him, but CM Punk still kicks out. They take the match out to outside. CM Punk gets hit with a pedigree by Seth Rollins on the announcer's table, instantly rolls into the ring, gets hit with another pedigree, only for CM Punk to kick out. And mind you, at this point in time, CM Punk has taken 2 GTSs and 2 pedigrees, and he still had life in him. The match still had twists and turns coming into it because Seth Rollins hits CM Punk with a stomp, only for CM Punk to put his feet on the rope for referee to call it a rope break, and I feel the match should have had ended there. So the match must continue, and then we get this cool moment when CM Punk and Seth Rollins are on the top rope, and CM Punk shoves Seth Rollins back to the ring, and Seth Rollins screams in anger. He's burning out and climbs the top rope really fast just to hit CM Punk with this superplex into the Falcon Arrow, and CM Punk counters it into a GTS, and we get this huge callback moment from AEW when CM Punk defeated John Moxley. He defeats Seth Rollins in the same way. Seth Rollins, after taking the GTS, falls onto the ropes, bounces back, and falls into the shoulders of CM Punk again to be hit with a GTS, and he ends the match there. I was happy with the chemistry of the match, the back and forth they had, but CM Punk got hit with so many more finishers than Seth Rollins, and Seth Rollins must have had won this match. And if Seth Rollins hasn't won this match, I want him to win the feud. I'm with Seth Rollins in this because CM Punk has actually badmouthed WWE since a while, and when he was gone for 10 years, Seth Rollins carried this company on his back. And CM Punk just won his feud against Drew McIntyre, so I want Seth Rollins to win this feud, and we are here for it. And what comes after this would be a really grudge-filled rivalry, and they need some stipulation matches in it so that we can have that bloody match between them. So yeah, the show ends here, and I was happy for the most of the show, but except for the finishes of 2 matches, the Jey Uso and Drew McIntyre match, and also the CM Punk and Seth Rollins match, the finishes could have had been better, and I'm also kind of pissed with them calling off Rock's plans for WrestleMania 41. But overall the show was good, and you must go and watch it, and tell me in the comments whether you like this show, dislike this show, why you like this show, why you dislike this show, and then we'll discuss what happens in the next video, and see you then.